You're listening to Murder, Not Murdering with Erin
and Autumn,
a true crime podcast about murder and murdering.
But we are not murderers.
And we're back with Murder, Not Murdering with Autumn
and Erin, a true crime podcast about murdering, not murders, not murdering. Good Lord. I know our podcast slogan.
I don't think you do.
We used to have it so at the end of it, it said, "We promise." And we tried to say it together and it was a fail.
That was so bad.
It was, so we just could not get the timing right, you guys. It was
like not
rough.
Even a little bit.
No.
We could not be in unison in any shape or form.
So we have some bad news. Neither of us watched the Jodi Huisentruit documentary yet. So we have nothing to comment. We will. We have nothing to comment on that. But we did start talking about Amy Bradley again.
Yes, because I cannot stop thinking about that. And I went kind of down this rabbit hole and I found some kind of a little bit of disappointing news. And also it kind of sheds light on something as well as, so let's just get into it. So Amy Bradley's brother, Brad Bradley.
That's right. Brad Bradley. Let it sink in.
Right. But so I found out, actually digged a little deeper, and his real name is not Brad. I guess that's a nickname. He goes by Brad Bradley. His real name's Ronald.
What the fuck?
Just like his dad and him have the same name. So I guess people call him Brad. Girl, I don't know. It was very strange to me, right?
I do not like anything about that. In my family, we have a lot of guys named John. So I have a cousin that went by John. Like, he was a little kid then, though, but everybody called him John because he was like a little boy at the time. And we had so many Johns in our family that it just didn't make sense. But I wouldn't. Bradley.
Even his social media handles are Brad Bradley. So like
And what have we learned about Brad Bradley that is disappointing? Because I've heard a lot of people talk about this on TikTok and in other social media avenues.
He is a heavy Trump supporter.
Heavy.
I mean, like posting videos about how much he loves Trump and how Trump is the best and just like all these things. And here at Murder Not Murdering, we have differing opinions about Trump than obviously Mr. Bradley does. And, I can't even begin to tell you.
If you listen to our podcast, I think you're pretty aware that we lean definitely way, way more left. And we are not supporters of Donald J. Trump. You heard it here first.
Yeah.
It's just, we believe in science and equality and making sure we take care of each other.
Yes.
Oh, gosh.
Being kind to one another.
Wild.
That's neither here nor there. But then the Netflix documentary, for the first time in all of the documentaries in the history of Amy Bradley's story.
And she's been covered a lot.
A lot by numerous sources.
Yes.
For the first time, they opened up that she was a lesbian and
or bisexual.
Yeah. And she had a girlfriend at one point. And they had recently broken up. And I guess she was seeing a man, is what her brother keeps talking about. And he's like, we need to focus on, she was seeing a man at the time and her boyfriend was helping us find her. And it's like, but that doesn't matter. Why are we focusing on her sexuality like that? And why was it hidden?
Here's the other thing. If she was seeing a man, it doesn't make her less bi or
100%
or anything. And so the other thing is, to me, it makes her case make more sense because of the fact that it easily could have been her turning down these guys. And it makes sense that in that time, they tried to make her out to be, like slutty and she was doing this, but that just wasn't the case, so it changes a lot of the narrative of this case.
100%. And why keep that hidden for so long? And then get so upset that they shined the light on the truth in the documentary. It's
And granted, we don't know what she was feeling at the time, but she could have just been dating a guy or told her family that.
That is true. I mean, well, no, he actually did help search for
Okay.
her. So he existed, but she also, I mean, their whole family is very conservative.
Mhm.
And I'm thinking that she felt that maybe because her father wrote a letter to her girlfriend saying how he didn't approve of their relationship.
Oh God.
So I'm wondering if, she did that to please them, because
It could very well be.
was that family. There's one thing that is consistent through all platforms and all stories and all sources, is that family was very close. And I would imagine
And she wouldn't want to
wants to
disappoint
please her
them.
parents,
Yeah.
right? And her family.
That makes
So
sense.
I can understand why maybe she wasn't wanting to let on to her authentic self at that time. It was also different
Mhm.
times, and very
Yep.
scary for people. And so I understand, but I mean, that information is crucial. And the fact that it was hidden was shocking to me.
Yeah. I am just so curious what else we might find out from that.
Yes.
There's got to be somebody else that saw something.
Yes, 100%. And honestly, I used to, if I'm being honest, I used to lean towards she was trafficked. Now
Yeah.
I'm kind of leaning towards she may have been very drunk and fell off the balcony,
That could be too.
because
We don't know.
her father woke up in the middle of the night and he was like, I don't know why, but I heard a noise and then I realized she was not there. So, I mean, it could have been the stateroom door shutting, but it also could have been the noise of her falling off the balcony
Sure.
and just knowing that something was wrong, right? But we don't know. I mean, this case was botched in so many ways that we'll just never know.
Oh my God, so many ways. And and led by someone who didn't really do their job.
So, and then the cruise director, I mean, don't even get me started on him. He was just wild.
It
So, I
feels
mean,
a little cover-up-y though.
yes. So, I mean, honestly, anything could happen. I also
Sure.
have a problem with all these, excuse my language, fucking witnesses who did jack shit when she asked for help, apparently, supposedly. They're coming out. She's saying, I'm Amy Bradley, help me. The Navy guy's like, sorry, not my problem. And then years later, here he is on a Netflix documentary talking about how she was begging him for help. And
Yeah.
you did nothing.
Nothing.
And then the woman in Barbados, she did nothing. So, I mean, it's like all these witnesses are supposed witnesses seeing her and she's begging for help and they're just whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, I have
It's
to say,
super
if someone came up to
frustrating.
me asking for help, I would remember that and do something about it.
I would help anybody immediately.
I wouldn't be 10 years later
Immediately.
talking on a Netflix documentary about how I saw her.
Also, kind of gross to go on a documentary and be like, yeah, I didn't help them. They asked for help and I didn't do anything. I don't think I'd be advertising that.
No.
Either.
No, me either. I mean, it's just mind-blowing. So
Yeah.
I think I owe it to myself I've watched it twice, maybe watch it a third time. I don't know. My brain is just stuck on it. And I keep watching. He recently got a TikTok account.
Oh,
and I've
boy.
been watching him go live with a bunch of true crime podcasters.
Sure.
And I sit there. I don't comment on it. I just sit in the background.
I get that you want answers about your sister, but some of it feels a little like he wants to be in the limelight. Does it not? A little bit? Because it allows him to push his agenda too.
100% with that. But the fact that, I mean,
his family, bottom line, they need answers. The
yes,
family
they
needs
need
answers. They were tight-knit. They loved each other. They need answers.
And to be very, very clear, I do not think that they had anything to do with her disappearance.
No, not at all.
At all.
I don't think so either.
I don't think they're covering it up. I think it was kind of a shitty thing to keep that portion hidden for so long. It wasn't protecting her. In all reality, it could have shown light onto an alternative situation that could have led to them trafficking her or raping and killing her, throwing her off board. There's just so many things that could have happened.
So many options.
And we just didn't know that. So
yeah.
I mean, like, shame on them for keeping it a secret. But I mean,
Well, and it's obvious they were well aware if the dad sent the
well
letter.
aware.
You know what I mean?
100. It wasn't a secret to them. She came out to them.
Yeah.
She had a girlfriend. Her girlfriend met her family. Her dad wrote a letter, said he did not approve of her. I mean, it was no secret. It wasn't a
Yeah.
phase. She
No.
felt this way, right? Like this
Sure.
was her feelings.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's just so shitty to like silence her and who she was in a way, like hiding a portion of her.
Well, I think that, again, I hope that this brings more awareness to this case. I really hope that we find something.
Me too.
You know, I mean, evidence is long gone. So we're relying on someone remembering something, you know.
Man, I'll never stop thinking about this case. But yes, until answers are found, maybe not in our lifetime, but I sure hope so.
Yeah. So this week, Autumn, you are going first since I went first last week.
I am. Are you ready?
I'm ready when you are.
I'm born ready, girl. This is the murder of LaNell Barsock. And guess what, Erin?
What?
It's not unsolved.
Finally!
This is my gift to you.
Solved mystery.
Yes, this is my gift to Erin.
Thank God. I needed a solved one, Autumn.
I know. It had to happen. There are some people who walk into your life like a gust of wind. Fast, intense, sudden. But what happens when the wind doesn't leave? When it lingers, turns cold, and starts pulling everything apart? This is the story of LaNell Barsock, a nurse in her 20s, just beginning to bloom, and the person who became obsessed with her after a few weeks together. Someone who claimed to be a lifelong friend, but in reality was something much darker. LaNell Barsock lived in Palmdale, California, a desert city just outside Los Angeles. She was 29 years old, and she had one of those spirits you could feel before she even said a word. She was warm, grounded, kind. She worked hard. Nursing is no joke. We know a nurse.
We do.
Actually, thinking about it, I should have saved this one for that.
You should have. But there's a lot of nurse ones. I'm
Yes.
sorry. There's so many nurse murderers out there.
This is true. This is true. Okay.
Yeah. Also, Timmy, we're doing that episode soon, and I know you are listening.
Yes, Timmy, we are coming for you.
Not to murder you.
No. We don't murder at Murder Not Murdering.
That's the whole slogan that we both remember.
We promise. Nursing is no joke, but she always made time for her friends, her family, and the people she cared about. At the time of her death, LaNell was romantically involved with two people. Her longtime on and off boyfriend, Louis Bonner, and a newer man she started seeing more recently. It wasn't messy, it wasn't scandalous, just complicated in the way love often is. LaNell was sorting it out. And then, in the spring of 2010, she made a choice. She was going to try again with Louis. To her, it felt right. But to someone else, that choice was unforgivable.
Oh, no.
A few weeks earlier, LaNell had briefly dated a woman named LaRene Austin. They met online through Craigslist and had a short, casual relationship. A handful of dates, some messages, a few intimate moments.
What a time back when people would date from Craigslist.
From Craigslist. I know, right? Like,
it's just a small pocket of time that
Yes.
used to happen all the time.
Yes. Not now. Do not find
please
your
do not
people
do
off
that.
of Craigslist.
I think we've all learned by now you will get murdered.
Yes, the
So-
Craigslist killer is a real
Yes.
person, and he is in jail now.
Yes.
But when LaNell chose to walk away from that connection, LaRene didn't.
Oh, no.
She didn't get angry. She didn't cry, at least not outwardly. Instead, she got quiet and calculated.
And stalkery.
On the morning of June 16th, 2010, LaNell didn't show up for work. She didn't call in. She didn't text. Her coworkers were immediately concerned. This wasn't like her. But that afternoon, a friend went to check on her house. And that's when they found her. LaNell was lying in the garage, face down, with a black plastic trash bag pulled over her head. She had been shot in the back of the head, execution style.
Oh, my God.
It was sudden, brutal, and cold. And what made it even worse? Inside the house, someone had tried to stage the story. Her car was missing, her cell phone and laptop were gone, and on the dining table was a printed letter, a breakup letter, supposedly from LaNell, addressed to Lewis. And it read, "Lewis, I'm sorry. I've met someone else and I'm happy now. His name is Maurice and he treats me how I deserve to be treated. We're going to start a new life together, and I hope you can fight it in your heart to move on. I don't want you to connect or contact me anymore. Please respect my decision. Take care of yourself." It was neat, oddly formal, not at all how LaNell typically wrote. But it wasn't just the tone that raised eyebrows. It was the name Maurice that was the other man she'd been seeing privately. So how did this letter end up on her table if she was already dead? Naturally, suspicion fell on Louis Bonner, the ex, the man supposedly being dumped. Police brought him in right away, questioned him for hours, and he didn't resist. Louis was calm, cooperative, and devastated. He had an alibi. Surveillance footage showed him miles away at an AutoZone during the exact time LaNell was killed.
Also, I feel like if you have nothing to hide, then you just cooperate.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes people that are guilty as sin cooperate, thinking they're smarter
Sure.
than the law and stuff. But
That is true.
this, he seemed very
Genuine.
very genuine.
Yeah.
They had a volatile relationship. They were young. They've worked together for quite some time. They had a house together.
Yeah.
They were off and on. They fought all the time, like always, always, always fighting. But you could tell that he loved her. It just didn't make sense. His phone records backed it up. No physical evidence connected him to the crime. So if Lewis didn't kill her, who did? And who tried to frame him? At the scene, a woman appeared. She introduced herself as LaRene Austin, LaNell's longtime friend. She cried, offered support, told detectives she'd known LaNell since childhood.
What? This is our Craigslist lady.
Craigslist lady, yes. It sounded plausible. She was calm, respectful. She asked questions, played the part.
Became overly involved.
No one realized she wasn't just a friend. She had been LaNell's ex-girlfriend, and a recent one. She had motive. And police had no idea because her name was entered wrong during the initial background check.
Oh, no.
Instead of LaRene, spelled L-A-R-E-N-E, it was spelled Lorraine, L-O-R-E-N-E. And just like that, the system missed a critical detail: that she had previously purchased and registered the exact type of gun used to kill LaNell, a 38 caliber revolver. It was a typo that nearly derailed everything.
Yeah.
For a while, LaRene disappeared into the background. But the forensics didn't lie. Her fingerprints were found inside LaNell's house after the estimated time of death. Her DNA was on the breakup letter. And LaNell's friends told detectives something strange. The night before her death, LaNell had told a friend she was getting her hair redone the next morning. Someone was coming over to help her with her weave. That someone was LaRene. But by the time police moved to arrest her, LaRene had already vanished. She fled the country and went to Belize, leaving behind almost no trail. And that might have been the end of it. But in late 2011, America's Most Wanted aired an episode about LaNell's case. It featured LaRene Austin, her photo, her aliases, everything. And one viewer recognized her. My freaking hero! Because I wish that was me. She was arrested shortly after, living under a fake name in Belize and extradited back to California. In 2015, LaRene went to trial for first-degree murder. Prosecutors laid out the case. A short-lived romantic relationship LaRene wouldn't let go of. A fake letter designed to implicate Lewis and confuse police. A careful staging of the scene to make it look like LaNell had simply walked away. But LaRene made mistakes. She couldn't erase the DNA. She couldn't undo the phone records. And she couldn't explain away her presence at the house. The jury saw through her. She was convicted and sentenced to 50 years to life.
Damn.
She appealed, claiming bias, mishandled evidence, and discrimination. But the courts upheld the conviction.
Good.
She will not be eligible for parole until 2030.
Oh, well, that's not that far away.
No. But at the same time, I don't think she's getting out.
No.
It's one thing to be left. It's another thing entirely to feel entitled to someone's life. That's what this was. LaRene believed LaNell was hers. And when she couldn't have her,
no one could.
She took her, tried to erase the truth, and for a while, it almost worked. But LaNell's story didn't end with a breakup letter. It didn't end with a typo. It ended with the people who loved her fighting for answers, refusing to let this quiet, careful killer slip away. LaNell Barsock was more than her death. She was laughter, drive, light. She was a woman making her way through life with honesty and heart. And she did everything right. She said no, she walked away, she tried to protect her peace. And in the end, it still wasn't enough. My sources were the AV Times, Los Angeles Times Homicide Report, grunge.com, I don't know how to say this, but this was a website I was at, meaww.com, The Sun, The Cinemaholic, America's Most Wanted, and Dateline NBC's episode, The Breakup.
Wow. I'm so glad it's solved.
I know. I knew you'd like that part.
I like that it's solved. I also think there was like a lot of twists and turns in that. You know, it's that classic, if I can't have you, no one can storyline. You know what I mean? It's so shitty because it's like, just move on with your life. Do something else.
Yeah.
Anything.
And she had told you she wasn't interested.
Yeah.
And you weren't taking no for an answer.
I mean,
the fact
kind
is
of,
that
like
she
stalked her after she died.
So also she was, oh my gosh, this is how ballsy this woman was. So LaNell's mother was at the funeral and LaRene came up to her and gave her a big hug and was like, I'm so sorry about the loss.
God, that is so skeezy.
Yes. But then her mother was like, thank you. You know, like she thought she was like a friend, right?
Sure, of course.
Well, then when she was talking to the police she was like, who is that woman? And the police were like, well, that's her best friend. And she was like, no, it isn't.
No, the
And
fuck it is.
And the police were like, yeah, she's her best friend, her childhood best friend. And her mother was like, I don't know that woman. Who is that woman? So this woman,
And even at that
LaRene
point,
was coming around.
The cops
Oh,
weren't
that's
like,
when they
oh no.
no, that's when they started to be like, oh wait,
Okay.
what?
Well, that's
and
good.
then that's when they respelled her name. I mean, come on, they did a background check spelling her name incorrectly, and then just were like, okay, yeah, this everything checks out. She goes about her business trying to frame Lewis, and it's just like, what is happening? And she has
it's so
the
frustrating when
same gun.
those little things fall through the cracks. You know, it's just
Yes.
one mistake that someone was putting into a computer system. It's frustrating. Accidents happen, but it's really imperative,
So imperative
important
to get
when
it
you're
correct.
when you're dealing with someone's murder.
Mm-hmm.
You know, ugh, gosh.
But I'm ready for yours. I've been looking forward to this.
Okay.
Hearing this story that a good friend of yours recommended, a personal connection.
So I first want to take a second to thank Jamil for sharing this story with me. We talk about these cases a lot, but it definitely has a different tone when it's someone not so distant family member. So I thank you for allowing me to share this case and adding to the fact that it will not be forgotten. Victims matter, and it's so important not to forget they were real people who were loved by many. I just wanted to get that out of the way. So my case today is the cold case murder of Betty Elaine Minnis. Before DNA, before the digital footprint, before justice had any real tools into digging into the truth, there was blood on the floor. October 19th, 1990, a quiet night in Seattle's Rainier Valley. In a small home near South Morgan Street, a 12-year-old girl named Damika woke up to the sound of her mother screaming. She ran towards the living room. Her mother, Betty Elaine Minnis, was sprawled on the floor, nude from the waist down, and stabbed again and again, 30 times, maybe even more. Damika saw a man running out of the house, a man she thought she recognized. Then silence. This is the story of a mother's violent death, a cold case that chilled for over a decade, and a trial that raised a haunting question. What happens when the evidence says yes, but the jury says no? A killing in Rainier Valley. Betty Elaine Minnis was 38 years old in 1990. A mother of two, she lived with her children in the Rainier Valley neighborhood of South Seattle. A place with modest homes, tall fir trees, and a deep community pulse, one of the most racially and economically diverse parts of the city. Betty worked at a Seattle area hospital. She was loved, known, and not someone to get caught up in crime. That night, October 19th, was like any other, until it wasn't. Just after midnight, Betty was attacked in her living room. The weapon? A pair of scissors. Police would later determine she had been stabbed 30 times. Her daughter, just 12, had been sleeping nearby. Can you imagine waking up to the sound of your mother screaming?
No.
It's just awful.
Horrible.
Damika would tell police that she saw a man fleeing, a man she recognized, someone named Joseph Wheeler, a family acquaintance, someone her mom knew casually, not a boyfriend, not a stranger. Damika's statement sent police straight to Joseph Wheeler. He was brought in, questioned, and eventually charged. The case, they thought, was open and shut, a suspect, a motive, possibly jealousy or obsession, no forced entry to the home, so Betty may have let him in willingly. But then came the DNA. Biological evidence collected from Betty's body revealed a profile that was not Wheeler's. It wasn't a close match. It wasn't a maybe. It was a hard no. In the spring of 1991, prosecutors were forced to drop all charges. Joseph Wheeler walked free. Betty Minnis's family was left confused, angry, and terrified. If it wasn't him, then who? And the bigger question, How had they gotten it wrong? For more than a decade, the case sat cold. It joined a long list of unsolved homicides in Seattle. The city, like many in the U.S., had no dedicated cold case unit in the early 1990s. DNA technology was improving, but slowly. Priorities shifted, budgets dried up, and so Betty's case waited. Files gathering dust, a mother's death forgotten by everyone except her family. Then in the early 2000s, something changed. In 2003, the Seattle Police Department formed a cold case squad, led by Detective Greg Mixell and a few others. They began pulling old evidence boxes and retesting biological material using advanced DNA techniques. They called it genetic time travel. And in 2005, Betty Elaine Minnis' name came back to life. A match emerges. The DNA sample collected from Betty in 1990 had been sitting in cold storage for 15 years, preserved, untouched, waiting. And now it spoke. It matched one man, Trinino Rollins. Rollins was already serving a sentence in Washington State Prison for a separate murder. That case, almost as brutal, was the 1991 slaying of a man named Tyrell Dorian Johnson, beaten to death and mutilated into coma. Rollins, it seemed, had an extensive history of violence. He also was known to frequent the Esquire Club, a lounge in Rainier Valley where Betty was sometimes seen. It's possible they crossed paths there. Maybe she knew him casually, or maybe not at all. There was no direct evidence placing him inside her home. No fingerprints, no witness testimony. But the DNA, it doesn't lie. The odds of the sample belonging to anyone else, according to expert testimony, would be 1 in 46 quadrillion. So there's no other option.
Mm-hmm. Basically, yeah.
Yeah. In April 2006, prosecutors filed charges. Rollins was charged with first-degree murder. The case, once ice cold, was headed to trial. The courtroom was packed when Trinino Rollins walked in. D'Amica, now an adult, sat quietly as the events of her childhood trauma were replayed. During his opening statements, King County Deputy Prosecutor Tim Bradshaw said that swabs of biological evidence taken in 1990, just after the murder, were a crucial bit of forward thinking. Material on those swabs was stored away until scientific advancements made it possible to look at them in a new way. Cases occasionally are solved by the passage of time, Bradshaw told the 12 jurors and 2 alternates. It's the ideal witness, a genetic timestamp, he said of the DNA. This is a case that took 13 years to solve. The defendant's own lies have caught up with him, Bradshaw told the court. The prosecution leaned heavily on the DNA. They argued Rollins had either raped or sexually assaulted Betty that night, and that the murder followed. The defense had a different take. Yes, they said, DNA showed that there was some kind of sexual contact. But that doesn't mean that Rollins killed her. Maybe they had consensual sex earlier in that day. Maybe someone else committed the murder after he left. It wasn't enough, they argued, to convict a man on presence alone. The jury deliberated for 4 days. 10 jurors believed that he was guilty, but 2 did not. That's all it took. A mistrial was declared. Most jurors did not believe him. "We know they had sex," said a juror. "What are the odds that he got dressed, said goodbye, and then some random person came in and killed her?" The juror said that he and the others were crushed to learn, after being unable to reach a verdict, that Rollins had killed before. And I would imagine it felt like he got away with it, serving only his sentence for the previous murder, and would have the chance of freedom. Betty Elaine Minnis' slaying was one of the many cold cases that Seattle police had reinvestigated recently by submitting old evidence for new DNA testing. But this was the first time that charges in one of those cases did not lead directly to a conviction. Trinino Rollins, already in prison, would not face another day in court for Betty Minnis. Or so we thought. A new trial was scheduled to start in October 2006, but Rollins later entered a modified guilty plea to second-degree murder, claiming that he did not kill the woman, but acknowledging that he would likely be convicted in a second trial. He was trying to cut his risk of additional time behind bars substantially, as King County prosecutors said they would recommend a 15-year sentence, which is what he got for the murder of Betty. If he had been convicted of first-degree murder, he would have faced a standard range of 23 to 31 years. I'm sorry that all of this happened, he said. I mean no disrespect to the family to say I am not the person who did this. Deputy Prosecutor Tim Bradshaw said Rollins uttered similar words when he was sentenced in 1992 for the drug-related murder of Tyrell Johnson, whose dismembered body was found in a ditch in South Seattle. All murders are painful and have consequences, Bradshaw said. This is Mr. Rollins' day of reckoning. Rollins' lawyer, John Hicks, acknowledged that Minnis's death was a horrible crime, but he said there was no evidence that it was planned. Rollins had maintained that he must have gone to Minnis's apartment and had sex with her, given that his semen was found, but he can't recall a single detail about the encounter. I forgive him for what he has done, D'Amica Morton said, clutching a wadded tissue. I feel like forgiving is the first step in healing. Hopefully my mom will be able to rest in peace. D'Amica's father, Robert, said he no longer hated Rollins, but what he did in such a brutal way broke all our hearts. D'Amica went on to say that Betty was a wonderful mother whose good qualities live inside her today. Betty Elaine Minnis was a mother, a neighbor, a friend. She lived, she was loved, and she was taken in the cruelest way. Her story deserves to be remembered. My sources were the Seattle Times Archives, the Seattle PI, and the Stanford Info Lab.
Wow. I'm so glad you told that. That was so special.
Well, it was really sad. It was
special as in like hearing about her and learning about this person. Thank you. That was really heartfelt.
I'm just sad that it took them so long to get an answer and that he still denies that he had anything to do with it. He doesn't remember anything. And I felt a little vindicated in the fact that the prosecutor said the investigators said that he had said the same thing for the previous murder that he had committed.
Yes.
He ended up getting 15 years added to his sentencing. But it's kind of annoying that he was able to do that loophole of pleading guilty because he knew that if he had gone to trial, he would be convicted of first-degree murder. But there's now all of a sudden they're like, no, it wasn't planned. It's just odd. And he's still never admitted to it.
Of course not. He's a coward.
Yeah. It was interesting trying to research this one because there was articles, but not that many. So thank goodness for the Seattle Times Archives because that was definitely a very helpful way for me to find information. Good. And again, thank you, Jamil, for sharing that with me.
Yes, thank you so much.
And do let us know any other cases that, our listeners might have or people that you would like us to cover. We are always open to taking more cases on. So send us a DM and we will do our very best to get that covered for you.
Yes, we will.
And that's at Murder Not Murdering.
Yes. And speaking of people that murder not murdering, Stabby Jim is on his way to my house right now. He's like 5 minutes away.
Oh, is he bringing you a knife?
Probably.
I still think that for a holiday or something, you need to get him an engraved knife that says Stabby
it's
Jim.
happening. Every
I think it's
holiday
too
he
funny.
gifts knives to all of us. Every year, everyone gets a
It's
knife.
his turn.
It's his turn. Well, we get him knives quite often, but I think that we need to engrave one that says Stabby Jim, love,
I
murder,
think
not
so.
murdering. Or
I
love
just
your
love-
murderful friends.
Your murderful friends. I love that people know him as Stabby Jim.
Yes, I do too. And he secretly loves it. He's a little ham. He loves being the center of the spotlight.
You guys want to hear a really cute story? When
me.
Autumn and I, well, you know it, but when Autumn and I first started doing the podcast, her parents went to the farmer's market and were telling people about the podcast.
Yes, this is
'Cause
true.
Didn't Dustin make little cards?
He made business cards and they were handing them out.
I mean, how adorable is that?
They're our
love it.
biggest fans.
Yeah. Good old Stabby Jim out there stabbing people with information.
I just he just texted me. He's like, I'm 5 minutes away. I'm like, okay.
Or else.
Or else. I'm like, Dad, I'm recording. He goes, thumbs up. Millennials hate the thumbs up.
I hate the thumbs up.
Don't
it feels
do that to me.
dismissive.
Yes, don't do that to me, bro.
Thumbs up is the same equivalent as saying just the letter K.
Yes, K.
K.
Don't K me. Do not K me. Your
I'd be
daughter
like,
Ks
okay.
me.
Oh, my daughter Ks me too. It's very annoying. I do not like it.
Lucy.
You don't do it. You just don't do it.
No,
And I don't
girl.
care what people say about millennials. I will always use my laughing emoji, and I will
Always. I will
don't
always
care.
say LOL. I do not care.
You know,
I
that's
do
the
not
one thing I
care.
don't do. I don't
Oh,
LOL.
I do. I LOL. But the funny thing is that I really am laughing. I laugh at everything. As
See,
everyone
I
can
will say
know.
like, oh my God, I was laughing so hard about that or whatever. I will say that I was laughing because I always think of LOL as like someone just saying it, but they're not actually doing it.
Anytime I say it, this girl's laughing.
Good to know. Okay.
You know this. I can't. I laugh at everything.
These are facts. Well, speaking of someone who laughs at everything, I think within 2 weeks, we're going to have an episode with Tim.
Yes. Yes.
That is
yes.
my plan.
We want Timmy. Get
We
me
want
Timmy.
Tim. We want Tim.
Yes.
We
Come,
want
Tim.
All right. Well, we will be back next week with 2 new cases and follow us on Instagram and also on TikTok.
TikTok is Eminem.pod. Instagram is murder not murdering.
Exactly. All right. Well, you will see more information on those, and we will be back next week. Mondays are always when new episodes come out, unless I did not do the editing. And we will see you then.
do not punish her for that.
Nope. So
No.
we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.